All right, I want to know why Paul Ryan took $25,000 from a convicted pedophile and never disavowed it. So we're back. Mike Cernovich, Danger and Play, Guerrilla Mindset, third Periscope of the day. As you know, Trump stuff has hit. Yeah, my hair and makeup girl is live. We're getting prepped. So as you know, all these fucking cucks are upset because Trump talked like he was in a locker room 10 years ago. Talked, locker room talk. I'm not going to defend the talk. Trump issued a statement. I'll let the statement speak for itself. But here's what I want to know. And this is all verifiable. Hey, Sean, you got my iPad handy so I can get that? All right, so this is all verifiable. A lot of you don't know this, but Paul Ryan took $25,000 from Dennis Hastert, the former Speaker of the House. And Dennis Hastert is a convicted pedophile. Look it up. Look up Dennis Hastert. Dennis Hastert went to prison for money laundering. He's a pedophile. He raped boys when he was a high school wrestling coach in Illinois. And as you know, pedophiles never quit. Pedophiles never stop. Pedophiles continue raping wherever they were. So in my opinion, Dennis Hastert continued raping boys while he was in Congress, and that Ben Sasse, who ran the Congressional Page program, I think Ben Sasse is a little pedo, but let's just talk about Paul Ryan. Here's the article. You can Google it, fact check it, do your own research. Paul Ryan won't return $25,500 in donations from disgraced ex-House Speaker Dennis Hastert. Well, calling Dennis Hastert disgraced ex-speaker is a bit of an understatement. Dennis Hastert is a convicted pedophile. Dennis Hastert raped 14-year-old boys when he was a wrestling coach. This isn't debatable. This isn't a question. This isn't an argument. This isn't an opinion. Dennis Hastert is a fucking pedophile. So today on Twitter, boy, Paul Ryan's awfully high and mighty about Donald Trump talking like he's in a locker room, talking a little trash. Boy, they're high and mighty. Rents, all high and mighty. All right. What about the money? $25,000 from a pedophile. That's a pedophile. Go to my Twitter right now. You can find the articles right now. So I want everybody asking Rents. I want everybody asking Paul Ryan. Did Paul Ryan ever give that $25,000 back that he got from a pedophile? How much money did Paul Ryan get from a convicted pedophile, Dennis Hastert? Why didn't Paul Ryan give it back? So new House Speaker Paul Ryan was quick to remove the portrait of disgraced lawmaker Dennis Hastert from the Speaker's lobby. But Ryan won't be unloading 9 donations he received from Hastert over the years. So that's interesting. So pedophile Dennis Hastert paid off Paul Ryan 9 times. Hush money. Did Paul Ryan maybe see something? Were they playing with little boys together? I don't know. But I know for a fact that Paul Ryan took $25,000 from a pedophile. Fact. From 1998 to 2012, Hastert gave $25,500 to Ryan's campaign through his leadership fund, Keep Our Majority PAC. Hastert is a convicted pedophile. Susan Jacobs, campaign manager and finance director for Ryan, said last week that Paul Ryan will not be returning the cash. These contributions both came in and were spent many years ago. So let's do a little comparison. Yeah, is Paul Ryan a pedophile? I don't know. He's got no problem taking money from a pedophile. Pedo Paul? Maybe. Maybe Pedo Paul is a hashtag. Maybe we start asking if Paul Ryan is a pedophile. What role did Paul Ryan have in the Congressional Page scandal that happened years ago? We do know that there was something called the Congressional Page Panel, which Ben Sasse, if never Trump ran, and we do know that underage boys were raped, sexually abused, and everything else. We know that for a fact. What was Paul Ryan's role in that? We don't know. We don't know for a fact that he's a pedophile, but we know he'll take a pedophile's money, and we know that he will not return the pedophile's money. So where's Rents? Where are you at, Rents? Where are you at, Paul Ryan? Where are you at, Mitt Romney? I don't see them disavowing Dennis Hastert. When that story hit, when it was revealed that Dennis Hastert raped boys when he was a high school coach, raped boys, I didn't see them lighting anybody up on Twitter. I didn't see them saying this is a disgrace. I didn't see any calls for reform. I didn't see anything. So Paul Ryan is taking money from a pedophile, doesn't want to give it back. Rents doesn't give. Where's the money, Rents? Where's the money? Was the money given back? I need to see a public statement. Because obviously, if I talk about banging chicks and being a little loose with my language around men, boy, that's a big deal. That's a big fucking deal. But raping little boys, apparently it's not a big deal to them. Because they'll take the money. Again, this is all verifiable. This is all, So maybe he gave the money back, but I haven't seen it. This was in 2015. Okay? So this is all. Go to my Twitter timeline. You can find these articles. I wrote it all up. Ben Sasse ran the Congressional Page Program. So the reason I tie this all together is that Dennis Hastert was a pedophile. He was also Republican Speaker of the House. Dennis Hastert raped boys when he was a wrestling coach in Illinois. And he was a big proponent of the Congressional Page Service. In Congress, here's what the Congressional Page Service was. Cute little boys, right, little twinks, often underage, would take little notes and run them back and forth. It was an internship. But it was really a sex trafficking ring. It was for pedophiles in Congress to have their pick of their little underage twinks. So that's what it was. So they'd run the little things. And Ben Sasse was a tutor for 2 years. So Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska, who also hates Trump, was a tutor in the Page program for 2 years. What did he do? What did he do there? What did he see? What did Dennis Hastert do? What are they covering up? What are they hiding? What are they not talking about? I'd sure like to know. I would really like to know, because Ben Sasse ran the Congressional Page program around underage boys. He looks awfully creepy to me. Yeah, the Page program. So you can Google Ben Sasse and Never Trump's pedophile problem. Paul Ryan took money, 9 donations over the course of, 10, 12 years? Took that money, wouldn't give the money back. So, was Ben Sasse part of the pedophile ring in Congress? I don't know. I'd like to know. Ben Sasse wouldn't reply to me. When I originally posted this article back in May, his Twitter was lit. He actually went on his longest social media hiatus in Twitter of all time. So he's seen the story. And he was shook. And so it's war. It's war. I have inside sources now telling me Paul Ryan and Rents may have been in on this latest attack on Trump. I also have proof that the GOP is sabotaging Trump this election. I've heard from people all through their campaign like you wouldn't believe, sources. So I'm going after all of them. But let's just remind Rents that Paul Ryan took money from a pedophile. So ask Rents. Just go to my Twitter. So the Twitter I'm at right now, maybe our hashtag is PedoPaul. Maybe PedoPaul Ryan is the hashtag. I don't know. I'm not saying Paul Ryan himself is a pedophile, but he certainly enabled pedophilia by taking hush money from Dennis Hastert, right? Wouldn't give the money back. 25 grand. That's how crooked. That's just the level of corruption here. $25,000 at Paul Ryan. He's a multimillionaire. But they're not going to give that money back. That's how corrupt they are. They'll take money from pedophiles. They'll take money from anybody. And I want to know, was it hush money? What was it? Is it fair? Pedo pals? Yeah, but they're friends with the pedophile. So Trump talks about kissing girls and being a little crude. Paul Ryan takes money from a pedophile. And Paul Ryan wants to be a sanctimonious motherfucker on Twitter. And Paul Ryan even said, oh, Trump can't come to my Wisconsin event now. What about Dennis Hastert? Dennis Hastert, did he come to your house? Sure gave you money. Dennis Hastert, do they write love letters to each other? Pedo Paul Ryan? Who knows? Who knows what Pedo Paul and Dennis Hastert have been up to? I don't know. But I do know that if some fucking pedophile gave me money and I found out that person was a pedophile, I'd sure fucking get rid of that pedophile money. I wouldn't keep a pedophile's money. But Paul Ryan kept a pedophile's money. Why? Maybe it was hush money. Maybe the reason Rents and Paul Ryan didn't go after Hastert was because maybe Hastert has the goods on them. Maybe Hastert has the goods on Sasse. I don't know. Again, I would like to find out who are the pedophiles in Congress. I would like to know what Rents knew about the pedophilia. I would like to know what Paul Ryan knew about the pedophilia. I would like to know why Rents didn't tell Paul Ryan, give that money back. You took money from a pedophile. I'd sure like to know. Because they're wound up over locker room talk from 10 years ago. So you can't be sanctimonious about locker room talk from 10 years ago and then say, oh yeah, Mike, you're bringing up this pedophile stuff, but that was like a year ago, bro. That was like a year ago when we took money from a pedophile. You can't bring it. No, if you want to get sanctimonious and fired up about bullshit locker room talk from 10 fucking years ago, then we can be wound up about pedophilia, about pedo Paul Ryan, about pedo Paul Ryan's friends, about the money they're taking, the hush money. We can be fired up about that. So let's start asking questions. They're on Twitter, they read it. Let's start asking Paul Ryan, hey, why'd you take $25,000 from a pedophile? Was it hush money? Did you give that $25,000 back? What are you hiding? What are you covering up? Let's ask Rents. Hey, why didn't you insist that Paul Ryan give back that pedophile money? Why is it okay to take money from a pedophile? So if you're going to be wound up over Trump's tweets, hey, that's your right. If you're going to be wound up over locker room talk from 10 years ago, hey, that's your right. But that means you better be 10 times more wound up that Dennis Hastert raped boys and Paul Ryan took his money. That should fire you up. Boy, if you're fired up about this low Bush League shit, 10-year locker room talk stuff, then you ought to be fucking livid. So Paul Ryan should be livid, but he wasn't livid. He kept the money. Oh, I spent it. Oh, I spent the pedophile's money. I'm not going to give it back. So let's ask Rents. Let's ask Paul Ryan, hey, what happened to that $25,000? Are you pedophiles? Do you support pedophiles? Do you encourage pedophilia? Do you take hush money from pedophiles? What connection and what relationship do Paul Ryan and Rents have to the ring of pedophiles that Dennis Hastert was a part of? Because, again, some people are saying, Mike, this is a stretch. Mike, how is it a stretch, motherfucker? How is it a stretch to say Dennis Hastert is a convicted pedophile, gave Paul Ryan $25,000, Paul Ryan kept the money, and never disavowed Hastert, and Rents never disavowed Hastert? Okay? It isn't a stretch. That's like me saying, hey, hey, thanks for the money. Oh, you're a pedophile? Well, I already ordered a pizza with that money. I can't give you the money back. And I'm not going to say anything mean about you either. Oh, but this guy over here, tried to hit on a married woman. Boy, I'm real fired up about that. It isn't a stretch. In fact, the opposite is a stretch. If you're wound up about what Trump said 10 years ago, but you're not wound up about Dennis Hastert, and you're not wound up with Paul Ryan taking hush money, and you're not wound up about Rents, then you're a fucking pedophile. You're a pedophile neighbor. And that's the fucking truth. If you give a fuck about what Trump said 10 years ago, then you better give 100 fucks about pedophile Dennis Hastert and his connection to Paul Ryan and Rents. You ought to be way more wound up with that. So it's actually the opposite of a stretch. Everybody on Twitter who's talking about Trump's comments from 10 years ago, if they haven't talked about Paul Ryan and his connection to pedophiles, I would say those people probably are pedophile enablers too, or they like pedophiles too. Because if you're going to get wound up about one thing, you can't not get wound up about worse things. It's like you're mad about locker room talk 10 years ago, but you're not mad that Paul Ryan took money from a pedophile and Rents didn't say anything about it. That makes you a sick fuck. That makes you a pedophile enabling fuck. That makes you a pedophile lover. And that's just a fucking fact. Now, if you don't care about anything because you're above it all, well, that's a bit nihilistic, but at least I can appreciate nihilism. I can appreciate, if you're just, I don't care about anything, well, then you're a nihilist, and I can respect that. It's a different point of view. But if you actually give a fuck about what Trump said, but you're not on Paul Ryan and Rents about taking money from a pedophile, then that tells me everything I need to know about your character and your priorities and how fucking sick you are. And you're probably a pedophile enabler too. I wouldn't trust you around my daughter, that's for sure. Because that ought to fire you up. That should fire you up that Paul Ryan took money from a pedophile. Could have been a bribe, could be hush money. We don't know. And then Paul Ryan didn't want to give it back, and Rents didn't have a problem with that. Rents didn't say, hey, you better give that money back. It is from a pedophile. So go to my Twitter, find the stories. The stories are right there, top of the page. It's all there. It's all sourced. If there's one thing I do is I'm a lawyer, and I know that when I go after these people, they're going to try to sue me. So I fact check and I do my research. I do real journalism, hard-hitting journalism. So get your asses on my Twitter. Find those stories, link to them. You don't have to retweet me. You can just link to the articles and tag Rents and tag Paul Ryan and say, hey, what's up with this? I just heard you took money from a pedophile. Why'd you take money from a pedophile and not give it back? The hashtag is Pedopal. 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 Pedopal Ryan. Because that's who it is. I'm not saying he himself is a pedophile, but I'm saying that he has taken money from a pedophile and didn't want to give it back. That tells me all I need to know about Paul Ryan. That tells me all I need to know about Rents. That tells me all I know about the Never Trump people. They don't care anything about raping boys. Boys get raped, they don't care. Trump posts a mean tweet, says something crude. That's what fires them up. That is what fires them up. We're up against real sick motherfuckers. We're up against the entire hoaxing media. And we're up against the GOP. So you better wake up every day ready to raise hell while we can, because they want globalism. They want pedophilia legal. They want it normalized. That's a different black pill for another day. But in Congress, 40% of people in Congress are pedophiles. But that is a conversation for a completely different day. Most of you aren't really ready for that truth. Because if you really knew the truth about how many pedophiles are in Congress, you're not ready for it. So let's just stick to what you are ready for. 100% proven fact, Paul Ryan took money from a convicted pedophile, Pedopal. He didn't want to give the money back. Rents didn't have a problem with it. Let's let him know. Let's let him know we don't have any tolerance for pedophiles. We don't have any sympathy for them. If they want to get fired up about comments from 10 years ago, then they better get fired up about pedophiles in the GOP, and about Paul Ryan having connections to pedophiles, and about Paul Ryan potentially taking hush money from pedophiles. All right, thanks for tuning in. Mike Cernovich, Danger Play, Gorilla Mindset. I'm fired up because I actually give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about bullshit comments from 10 years ago. I don't care about crude comments from 10 years ago. I actually care that children, whatever happens with adults, I don't care. If you're a married woman and you cheat, that's on you. That's between you and God. That isn't my business. But if you're a teacher like Dennis Hastert was, and you rape your students, okay, now that fucking matters. That is something I care about. That is something that fires me up. But boy, it's interesting. The Never Trump people sure don't seem to care about that. That doesn't seem to fire them up. What does that tell you? They're a bunch of fucking pedophiles. Mark my word, there will be a big pedophile expose, and all these people, all these Never Trump people, they're all part of it. Show me a Never Trump person, and that person is very likely a pedophile. Or they're covering up for a pedophile, or they're taking hush money from a pedophile. You'll see. But right now, let's just stick to the facts. Pedopal. Hashtag Pedopal. Hey, Paul Ryan, why'd you take $25,000 from a pedophile? Was it hush money? Hey, Rents, why didn't you say anything to Paul Ryan about taking hush money from a pedophile? Let's fucking hit him. Hit him hard, okay? Enough of this bullshit. Let him know what's up. Thanks for tuning in. Find me on Twitter. If you can't find me on Twitter, find me at dangerandplay.com.